Productivity doesn't have to be so complicated. Why is it that productivity is something that scares most people into thinking that they're just lazy and they're not doing enough already? Most people that are already doing amazing things still know in the back of their mind there's a better way. And because of that, they're always looking for it. But that can lead to complications. If you choose to overcomplicate productivity, what you tend to do is you tend to read the latest book, the latest style, the latest system, and try to implement it in your life, whether it matters to you, whether it's your style, whether it's how you're going to thrive or not. And the key is this: there's really 5 things that you can do that will simplify productivity, that will make it easier for you to execute your level of maximum capacity and success. See, productivity is not always about doing more. It's about doing the best version of what you have in you so the result is the greatest it can be. It's living maximally to your human potential. That's what really productivity is. Here's the 5 things. Number 1 is start slow. This sounds boring. It sounds too easy, but here's the key component. You gotta know yourself. I'm a sprinter. I use this analogy all the time. Sprinters can't just go out and sprint a race. There is a very intricate startup that has to happen. You have to stretch. You have to get your mind right. You have to loosen up the body. Like, it's all a part of getting yourself ready for an immediate maximum effort. And if you're going at maximum effort, and that's where you thrive, then you gotta know that to be the most productive version of yourself, if you start slow and you build up towards that, you've prepared everything that needs to be prepared. You've practiced every part that needs to be practiced so that when you exert that energy, you're ready. So think of that sprinter going up to the line, knowing everything they've done to that point has gotten them ready to accelerate at a very fast rate. So what does this have to do with productivity? Here's the key. Know yourself, know your mind, know your body, know your system, and start slow. Build your day up so you can build towards how you maximize your productivity. Don't go right in and check your emails as soon as you wake up and open your eyes. Don't immediately start with chaos in your day. Don't immediately go into a world where you're going to be drawn into reaction versus response. These are all things that starting slow can really make a big difference in. It's extremely important. So, slow starts lead to the next thing. Number 2 is prioritize. Why is priority so important? Because every single day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year, every goal, dream, or anything that you want to accomplish, which would lead you to being productive, is something that must be prioritized. Here's why. You can't have everything that's a priority. Everything is not a priority. Priority is one thing, the most important thing. And you may have a couple of most important things in a couple of different categories. I like to categorize by the high performance life, love, impact, faith, energy. These are the areas that I look to prioritize. This is something that you can watch other videos and learn a little bit more about so you understand how I prioritize those and how I teach that process. But the key component is, if you don't stick to prioritizing the most important thing, the most important relationship, the most important impact of your day, whatever it is that you have to get done today, that you're going to feel accomplished at the end of the day, productivity starts with prioritization. What can you do to be successful? How can you plan and prioritize to make yourself succeed? And most people set a goal in the future and they work backwards. They say, okay, I want to accomplish this year. Well, what does that mean that I have to do each quarter? What does that mean that I have to do each month? And what does that look like on daily activities? Prioritization can sometimes be the simplest thing you do. And if you start slow and build towards prioritizing the most important thing, you won't get derailed from the productivity landmines. And that's what normally happens in our days, right? We get derailed. So the next thing is really, really important. I call it feed the body and mind. Why do we need to feed the mind and body? What's important about the mind and the body? The key component is most people expect results without feeding the mind or the body into the practices that it needs to be most successful. We'll go back to the analogy of the sprinter. If you want to be a sprinter, but you've never ever run a sprint, you're probably not feeding yourself with the right mental, physical capabilities that you need to actually get to that level of sprinting. The key component is if you want to be great at something, the first thing you have to do is feed your mind. You have to develop a mindset of growth and develop the mind in a place that learns everything and anything you can. So if your goal is to do X, what does X have to do with what you don't know? And how can you learn? How can you grow? Being productive is about dedicating yourself to not only the result, but the practice. And the practice is mind first, then body. So expecting the body to do something that it's not ready to do is not really good for productivity. Saying that you want to start getting in shape and you're 65 years old and you haven't run in 20 years, but you say you're going to start jogging is a bad idea. Walking first is a great idea. Stretching before you walk, a better idea. Developing a strategy to be productive in that space, but understanding that when you feed the mind and you feed the body, first, the result will then come. But when you expect the body or the mind to give you a result that you haven't fed it, you haven't put good fuel in your body, and you want it to last all day long with great energy, bad decision. That's not productivity in any capacity. That's the opposite. That's derailment. That's not feeding yourself when you wake up in the morning and understanding what your body's going to need for the energy output that you have for the day. It's understanding that feeding the mind and the body will get you a better productive state. Sounds simple, I know, but it really is that simple. You have to remember, why are you expecting results from something you've never ever put the practice, dedication, or commitment into? Crucial step, whether you're starting slow, prioritizing, or feeding the mind and body, they all flow together. Next is number 4. Crucial key to productivity is to embrace failure. Embracing failure gives you a growth mindset. Through learning, through trial, through error, through failing forward, you win, you learn, you grow. These are extremely important capabilities to being more productive. Productivity does not come from perfection. Productivity comes from understanding that you have to actually practice these things, that you have to fail. And the practice of anything means you're growing and learning every day. If you do something and you do it wrong, you immediately can course correct. You can pivot. These are all extremely powerful things when it comes to productivity. Failure is a key component to productivity. Failing forward is something that we all have to get a little more comfortable with. And the more you fail, the closer you are to success. So being more productive, again, is not focusing on perfection, but the imperfections that exist in the day, the imperfections that exist in distractions, the things that happen in our lives that are going to derail us from our goals, from our productivity objectives, understanding that those things are going to happen and course correcting, pivoting, learning, growing, all an imperative part of getting productive in a day, a month, a quarter, a year. And by the way, folks, this doesn't just mean in work. Productivity can be in your relationships. Productivity can be in a deeper faith, a deeper spirituality. Productivity can be in anything you're trying to accomplish that you've set as a predominant goal or a prioritized objective for yourself? Even your dreams. What is it that you're trying to accomplish, and how can you start to fail forward? It's always about just doing it, not just trying it. Remember that. It's just do it and learn along the way. Last but not least is my favorite thing to talk about and the biggest challenge I've ever had in my entire life. And it's called the reset. Sometimes when you're a sprinter, you sprint races that were meant to be long distance. And you have to make sure that you reassess and you reset. See, the hard reset is number 5. Having a reset, a pause. This can be short, this can be long. But if you don't remove yourself from your objective, from your goal, from your dream, and you step back and reset and think, you'll never ever be as productive as you can possibly be. Here's the analogy I love to use. Our iPhones, our phones, our computers, whatever it is that you're using, every once in a while you overwhelm it. Every once in a while it's not clicking just right. It's slowed in places it shouldn't be slowed. And you know that the only solution is to what? Turn it off, pause, and turn it back on. When your modem is out in the house and you call the cable company or whoever it is that does your Wi-Fi, the first thing they tell you to do is they say, look, the network's overwhelmed. Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in? Have you tried a hard reset? The computer, if it's not working correctly, right? Technology all tells us that when it doesn't work correctly and there's nothing that you're doing that's really going towards the objective or goal you have, the fastest way to get reorganized is to reset. Just push the button, pause, and reset. I find the most successful moments in my business life, in my family life, in my faith, in anything that I do, even my health, comes from really taking a step back and pausing, thinking, and then starting the process all over again. What isn't going right? What failures did I just learn from? What do I need to do that maybe I'm starting too fast on? How can I start slower and learn from my mistakes? Did I prioritize the most important thing, or was the most important thing that I thought was important not as important now that I've gotten closer to the goal? The hard reset is not just about relaxation and chilling. It's also about learning from the process of productivity. Productivity is awesome when you use it for your benefit. Productivity is something that is obviously something we want more of. We all want to get more done in a day. And some of us, every once in a while, I just wake up and I say, I don't want to get anything done today. I want to prioritize nothingness, the hard reset, the thinking, the peace, the quiet, the nature. Sometimes that is the most important thing because it gets you to the next level. Leveling up at each point of productivity is also valuable, and it allows you to repeat this process. So just to remind you, step 1 is start slow. Step 2 is prioritization. Prioritize the most important thing. Step 3 is feed the mind and body. Don't expect results that you haven't fed into your mind and your body. Work through practice, right? Most important things. Number 4 is embracing failure. If you're gonna just do it and not just try it, you have to expect that you're gonna learn from mistakes you're gonna make. That will help you be more and more productive. And last but not least is the hard reset. Know when you need a small pause, a restart, and know when you need a full shutdown and a reboot. There are times in our lives where we need that. Pay attention to that and you will find that productivity will shoot so high for you, and it's such a simple process. It's so simpler than all the things that often make it so complex. Productivity truly can be easy. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and make sure you share it with somebody else. We love that you're watching the videos. Thank you.